Hey everybody, how's it going? So today we're going to try to fix a MacBook. I just tried to fix a MacBook and it didn't work. Much of what I've tried to do today has not worked. But we're going to see if I can fix this MacBook and make it work, and maybe that will make my day a slight bit better. This is an A1466 MacBook Air that's not turning on, and I'm going to hope that it doesn't have a dead CPU like the last MacBook that I worked on. I just had a sushi with a piece of wasabi that was way too big, and it absolutely obliterated my sinuses. So, I actually have goosebumps on my arm right now. Like my hair is standing up from this. Nope, that is a dead meme, Sledge and Wedge. Those are all gone. That is a dead meme. Wow. Wow. I can't. I'm actually getting goosebumps right now. This is insane. Here. Gotta turn the heater on there. So there's a little container of wasabi, and there was 2 of them. And instead of taking it out in little chunks and putting it in the sushi, I took the entire thing of the entire container, and I put it with the sushi, and then I ate it. And I almost that was wow. Don't try that at home. Okay, so let's take a look at what's going on with this MacBook Air. I'm going to put it on the overhead camera so that you can see inside the machine from above. And the first thing that I notice here is that the speaker is not pushed down, which means that someone has been in here before and someone did something. The second thing that I can see are what appears to be dark blotches on this flex cable over here. This flex cable is for the DCN board, so we get a green light. And I don't like the fact that it has those blotches on it because it means there's probably corrosion under it. The first thing I'm going to do before I really dig into the computer is I was going to pull the battery out, but it appears this tab was already broken, so I have to pull it out this way. So we can already tell that someone's been inside of here that probably doesn't have a lot of experience, and let's hope that there was limits to the amount of damage that were done. So I'm just going to see how much power the board itself is taking. I don't want to have the battery plugged in, because I want to see just what the board is taking, because that's going to help me get an idea of how to go about my troubleshooting. And it seems like it's staying at 66 milliamps, jumping around a little, and then stabilizing at 66 milliamps, which is an interesting one. I don't think I've ever had this board stabilize at 66 milliamps. So this is probably going to be a unique piece of troubleshooting. So I am going to take the board out of the case so that we can get a closer look at it. Now, for those of you in the chat who pay attention, you may have noticed that we have water damage over here and water damage over here. Kidding, of course you didn't notice that because I'm still streaming at 1080p. Someday I'm going to get a red camera and we'll stream at 8 or 16K. When I have the overhead camera like that, you'll be able to just like pinch, zoom, enhance, 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 and you'll be able to see exactly what's on the screen all the time. Wouldn't that be cool? It's like infinite enhance, enhance, enhance. I love how they had that in CSI when that show came out in 2001. It's like, get out of here. That camera's like 300 lines of resolution. You're not zooming in a freaking gas station that has some cheap-ass $500 CCTV system. They probably got on eBay from China. No, get out of here. Look at our supercomputer enhance. Look at our Pentium 4 enhance. Get the fuck out of here. You're not doing any of that. I'm not sure how many of you saw the presentation that I posted yesterday on YouTube from the SIC. It was an anti-right to repair presentation where they post a bunch of supposed myths and then they fact-check the myths. And what I found particularly funny is they used their own survey to fact check some of the myths. So they would say, you know, like consumers when asked want X. And I get someone joked and say, I imagine how they phrased it. Would you prefer the authorized repair shop or some random schmuck to repair your device when it costs the exact same amount and takes the exact same amount of time, but the unauthorized place is less secure? You know, I can only imagine how they phrased the questions to ask the people who partook in this study. But that stuff is sadly probably the way that policymakers figure out how to deal with complex issues. Think about it. If you're a politician, how are you going to get schooled on education, healthcare, like heavy device restrictions or regulations for for devices that should be in warehouses, right to repair, heating, gasoline, all this other stuff? How are you going to regulate all these things when you don't know a damn thing about them? It's going to be really hard. So if someone makes some presentation with a pretty font and it's like, they're pretty much drawing the lines and the dots for you, you're probably going to go for it. I mean, if I was a politician, would I go with someone screaming in front of me about something, or would I go with the pretty presentation with colors and lines and all that? If you got so many issues, you only got so many issues you can deal with in a day. Okay, so this board has some targeted corrosion in interesting areas, and we'll go over that with you all. And maybe you can tell me which piece of corrosion is the most important piece of corrosion of them all. This is actually a really bad board. My cat is failing in his duties as a mouser. Can I borrow Oreo? I can't let you borrow Oreo. But I can ship you Oreo. So if you send an email to dan@rossfingroup.com with your shipping address, I will make sure that you are sent a box with Oreo. They used to do this on Garfield, where Garfield would mail Odie to Abu Dhabi, and it always seemed to end just fine. So if you want Oreo, just let me know. But the thing is, he's not actually going to catch any mice because he's slow and lazy and doesn't do any work. Oreo is the laziest employee that I have ever hired. That includes the person that fell asleep in my basement after getting drunk. So, this is actually a really poor board to work on for a couple of reasons. What I don't like about this board is that it's not like there's a bunch of corrosion in one area. There's a little bit of corrosion in a lot of different areas. So if we were to just zoom in on the camera, you got some corrosion over here, and then some corrosion by the chip that makes PP5VS4 and PP3V3S5. And some corrosion by the SMC, and some corrosion by Thunderbolt, and some corrosion by LCD backlight. So it's not like there's an end to the tunnel if you fix one thing. Because let's say there's a whole bunch of corrosion in this one area. Once I fix and redo every connection in this one area, I'm done. Even if this is miserable, I'm done. But here, you have so many different areas, it's really difficult to tell which piece of corrosion is the one that's immediately causing whatever problem you have. Obviously, stuff like the corrosion by the LCD connector will explain a no backlight, but if it's not powering on, or if it's going to 60 milliamps without going to 100 or 120, how do you know which piece of corrosion is the one that's causing your woes? And that's a difficult one. So we're going to go over this and try to deal with each piece of corrosion as it comes, and we're going to use different processes to deal with each piece of corrosion. So over here, these components are most likely reusable. I'm going to just make sure with some hot air and some flux that it is soldered properly, and that's going to wash away some of the corrosion. Some of those test points don't look very nice, so we may refurbish them. Also, something showed up on the screen, and then when I looked at the screen to read it, it went away. Damn. That's my luck. Let's see if I can get it to show up on the screen again. You're assuming the politician would even care about some info on the topic. He just uses the knowledge he already has and thinks he's smart and makes his decision that way. Yeah, I kind of wonder if I'm going to be around long enough for artificial intelligence to be politicians. But then if the AI is based on a human, that means that it would also have the human ego. Good luck having a realistic representation of a human being while removing that. You may notice that I'm using an X-Acto blade instead of using the fiberglass pen, and the reason that I use this instead of the fiberglass pen is because the fiberglass pen is too broad. Goes over too much area. And if you're interested in how to spot corrosion or how to know which probe points need work, if you go to wiki2.rossmangroup.com, I've actually posted a guide there on how to spot corrosion and how to figure out which pieces are okay and which pieces are not okay based on a lot of different criteria. And the whole idea behind that is so that without having to watch the video, you can learn how to do a lot of the same work that I do here. And hopefully it acts more like a cheat sheet. So for those, if you don't want to show up for 40 hours of lecture in class and all this, watch all my old videos, you can kind of get it that way. So be sure to check that out if you are actually interested in board repair. I'm just going to harden those points over there. And also notice that I'm not in the stage yet where I'm looking at what any of these individual points do. We are in what's called the brain off stage, is that you have a limited amount of brain over the course of your day. Hello, Catherine, how are you? And the way that it works is you want to limit how much of your brain you use, because you only have a certain amount of brain, and if you waste it on things that don't matter, you won't have it when you actually need it, and then you'll lose your mind and go nuts and be like me. You don't want that. You want to keep your brain? You want to keep your sanity? So I'm just going over the areas that look nasty. I'm using my eyes right now. And we're going to make everything look nice. Now, I'm still going to kind of keep in my head the areas that I went over, because if something's not working later, I want to have a little mental index of the areas that didn't look good, so that I can come back to them later. I know what to come back to later. You always want a hint. You don't want to be a detective that has no idea where to go. That's your nightmare. See this? That little piece of dirt is going to be shorting those two paths. But I don't want to over-intellectualize it either. One of the issues with people who first get into this is they over-intellectualize everything. They'll spend 45 minutes trying to figure out what a signal means instead of just attaching a wire to something that is broken and being happy when they restore something. Here I know that water got near my clock chip, as well as whatever this weird piece of food is. So there's a good chance that I will end up replacing the clock chip, because if you were able to corrode two capacitors above the clock chip, that means that you likely were also able to ruin the clock chip. This clock chip is very easy to ruin. A little bit of water and it's gone. It's not going to do what it needs to anymore. So we have some junk over here. Let's see if we can move that corrosion. I don't like these resistors over here. That area didn't look very nice. So you see what we did there when we found that the area did not look very nice? Just immediately remove it all. See if we can revive that pad. See if these pads are going to be reusable. Yeah, that pad is done. So now, since that pad is done, I'm going to take a look on Flex Board View to see what that's for. Let's open up a schematic for this. This is actually really old now. Yeah, this is like 7, 8 years old. Damn. I remember when I was working on these and these were new. Now it's 8 years old. Damn. That's crazy. It's crazy to get old. Realize that you're old. I remember when a Haswell CPU was new technology. So I walk around with my cane. Okay, so that was PP3V42_G3 hot over there, and that is now done. So that's no big deal. We can easily run a wire over there. The next is this probe point over here. Or what used to be a probe point and is clearly gone. And all this red stuff in the board here. Yeah, so this area has really seen better days. I'm just going to run a wire between these two. See, I'm kind of treating this like I'm filing my nails. See, I'm just filing my nails. Someone says time flies when you're locked indoors because of COVID. Indeed it does. Actually, it does the opposite. It tends to... It's kind of crazy when you think about what's going on with COVID. So, it's one thing to be stressed out because you're not making money. But something that I don't think a lot of people realize right now, and I think once people do realize this, they are going to start to truly lose their mind. It's not that you actually need to be making money right now. It's that you actually need to be making more money right now than pre-COVID. Because the amount of money that is being printed at the moment, it's going to make your money worth less. You're going to see the prices of a lot of things start to go up soon. It's going to be the combination of a bunch of money printed combined with the fact that a lot of people are not working and producing things right now, so there's going to be shortages of certain goods. And what's going to be crazy is, like, let's say you make $60,000 a year, right? Well, for the COVID era, it's going to be something like just for this year, to be able to say that you made the same amount of money, you're going to have made like 70 or 80 or 90,000 just to be able to say that you made the same amount, because the money is going to be worth considerably less next year than it was in 2019, at least in terms of spending power, I think, if you go to purchase a house or anything like that. And that's already off the table for a lot of people, because a lot of people are not even able to make any money this year. So it's not even just the case that you need to make money this year. It's actually that over the past year, you need to have made more money than you did in prior years, because the money that you have is going to be worth a considerable amount less. And I think that realization is what is fueling all the Wall Street Bets people, or the popularity of that group, and people figuring, well, if my money is eventually going to become worthless anyway, I might as well just, YOLO it on GameStop or some shit. You know what the crazy thing is? If I had actually YOLO'd my money on GameStop, I'd have been ahead. This is a genuinely crazy year. The sillier or more ridiculous your investment, it seems, the better it paid off, which really doesn't make any damn bit of sense. But trying to contemplate what makes life fair or unfair, well, really it's a very easy way to become a nihilistic person. And I think nihilism is a bad thing. It doesn't typically, a lot of people think that it's fairly innocent, or it's just a basic philosophy, what's so bad about it? But I've really never met someone who is nihilist who seemed to be mentally healthy or fit or happy. And I've often fell into that feeling myself in years past. Luckily not now, but years past. It's not a good thing. I forget where I even started with that. But so now remember, I am going to have to run a jumper wire for PP3V42 there, because the pad is gone and I don't feel like digging for it. Catherine says, I eat salad. I eat salad from time to time as well. I actually ate one today. This wire is being very disagreeable. I made that wire too short. Let's do another one. There we go, we got a wire and we got a wire. Now to continue our work. over to the SMC. Oh god, SMC area. Now you know some of that's going to have gotten onto the SMC, so I'm going to give that area a full reflow, including the BGA chip itself. What happened, Revan? Did I miss something? Let me know if I missed something. Sometimes I'm looking in the microscope and I miss the screen. If I miss the screen, please do let me know, because I can't see the screen from my microscope and I forgot to turn on audio notifications today. Important to get this thing off in one piece, because if you don't, sometimes that plastic or the silicone, whatever the hell, rubber shit, winds up sticking underneath the chip and combining with the balls. Juicy, juicy flux. The chip is not cracked. Don't be silly. Don't be silly. Oh geez, now we have two people who think the chip is cracked. There's no crack in the chip. You guys are killing it. Alright, now let's see what we can save with the resistors above. Damn. That first layer of board right over here, where those traces are. Thanks to you and other repair YouTubers, I'm opening my repair business in Southampton, UK. Thank you for the inspiration. My main job is software, systems, network, systems admin. Well, I'm glad to hear it. I wish you the best of luck. Now, usually I don't like using the fiberglass pen because it's too broad. However, this entire area is kind of nasty looking and destroyed, so I don't mind using something that's going to broadly scrape away. This is actually going to be a lot of work. This is a lot of stuff to reattach. Do customers get itemized bills? Yes, they do. Like, it'll say logic board repair or screen repair. If you're asking if I say I replaced this resistor, that cap, this thing, fuck no. That's no. No, that's no, fuck that. No. I'm not counting all the things I threw off the board on my desk and like saying it's $1 per resistor or some shit like that. No. They get board repair, this price. Screen repair, that price. Battery repair, this price. I'm not nickel and diming people on that stuff. Like, if I fix it, you pay. If I don't fix it, you don't. And I'm not doing this whole thing with big discounts for easy things or big increases for the hard things, at least when it comes to board repair, except for the models where it's like T2 chip, you have to separate the top layer and the bottom and stuff like that. Like for most board repairs, it's really just flat. Oh, dear God, this one's going to require a jumper. That one's going to require a jumper. This X-Acto blade is actually, I think, completely depleted. Let's try my other X-Acto. Would you give an amplified itemized IST? Amplified? I have no idea what the fuck that is. That's a lot of dirt. Let's clear some of the dirt. Scrape. So many wires here. The customer requests a video is an extra. I don't even offer that because I'm not the one who fixes most of the boards. So I don't offer that as a feature. That's going to end badly because typically the people that want to see theirs on videos usually have ones that are not fixable and they'll be mad if I don't spend enough time on it. That's usually a bad idea. If it gets on camera, it gets on camera. If it doesn't, it doesn't. Alright, this is going to be a lot of jumpers. Yeah, the reason I have flat rate stuff, because there are people that say, but this one was so easy, is because when I go through all of this and it doesn't work at the end of an hour or 2 or 3, you get build 0. So you make up for this with the ones that are easy. Where is this one going? So some of these probe points are actually not totally broken. I'm just reinforcing it because I can't really tell if they're going to last. And this is a Malin So it's not like this person can just walk back in the store if this doesn't work. Come on, cut. Alright, next wire. Alright, now I just need to get rid of some of the dirty flux, of the used flux there so I could see again. Right now I can't see anything under there. Yeah, that's not a probe point. Do you see how when I scrape away at the probe point I get this orangey, bronze-colored liquid that kind of looks like rusty blood? There's not much left there to make a probe point out of. My God. So much scraping. I feel like a dentist. I could probably jump that with solder, but I wouldn't trust it. So I'm going to make another wire over there. Jeez. I want to make sure I tin the ends of that trace on the top side as well as the bottom side. The top side didn't. It looked like I was attaching to what was left of the probe point, but not the actual top of the trace. So we'll clean out. We'll file that cap a little while we're here. Or I'll just flick it off. I have to replace so much stuff here anyway. I might as well not leave a nasty cap on the board. Whew. Be it as it may, at least the patient doesn't complain. Yes, they do. They call every 5 seconds asking if it's done yet. This isn't the patient. The customer's the patient. This is just a tooth. The tooth doesn't complain. The person the tooth is attached to complains. Too short wire. Every trace looks bad. Yes. Okay, we'll put the resistors on later. Those resistors are all going to have to be put back on. Paul Daniels is here. Everybody say hello to Paul Daniels. He's responsible for the board view software that the entire repair community uses for repairing these products. It's called Flex Board View. People like Paul Daniels make this job easier and more accessible to the entire community, and should be appreciated and praised for what it is they've offered and what it is they've put out. He's also responsible for the power supply and multimeter software that I use that allows you to see on the screen how much power the board is using and to see the multimeter results. Paul Daniels is also responsible for ICLN dropping from $33.50 down to $30.50 over the course of a few days. I'm going to replace that chip. That pad is too messed up. Hey everybody, Piernov is here. Say hello to Piernov in the chat. Piernov does all the actual programming and coding work for the software that Paul Daniels takes credit for, but Piernov is shy, so nobody knows who he is. Think of Paul Daniels as Steve Jobs. And Piernov as Mr. Wozniak. It's kind of the best way I could describe that relationship. The pad that was corroded appears to be a ground pad that was actually for... And there was two pads, so even if one was corroded, it was kind of redundant for me to bother replacing that. Paul Daniels is the marketing and personality arm. He's the cult of personality that makes Flex Board View possible. Every piece of software needs its cult of personality. Never running from a real fight. He's the one named Paul Daniels. He's the one, Paul Daniels. I hope everything's going well with Paul Daniels' house. He's been working his balls off so that he could move into this new house for a while. By new, I mean kind of needs work and probably is 100 years old, but I guess that's new by the Australian standards. Australia is different than a lot of the rest of the world. There's a lot of unique things about Australia. There was corrosion hiding under here. This would have resulted in no Wi-Fi if left there long term. Probably would have worked for a while, but eventually no Wi-Fi. Might as well nip it in the bud right now. Damn, there's another freaking pad missing. This pad over there is not on this... Oh, jeez. Let's see what that's for. PP3V42, go figure. That PP3V42 is also missing. That is actually going to the other side of the board. Jeez. Yeah, so this thing over here... But luckily I still have a piece over here. Thank God. I'll make a fake pad out of this. Me too, Aaron. I wish this was a pad for Firewire. MacBook Airs don't have Firewire, though. Mr. Paul Daniels. New edition of board repair software. I'm going to turn this into a little pad for the resistor that I have to solder there. Problem is I need it to be shorter than it actually is. I missed the one fire mod too, Aaron, but I haven't worked on an 820 or 2330 or 2327 in a long time. Alright everybody, who in the audience can do a good Paul Daniels impersonation? Good Paul Daniels impression. Do we have anybody? Have any takers? Anybody in the audience that can do a good impression of Mr. Paul Daniels? So I need PP3V42 to go here and here. I gotta find some PP3V42 somewhere. Ah! Oh, I took my own resistor off. That was stupid. Put the resistor back. Alright, so we're going to have a wire that makes a journey. You guys ready? We need PP3B42. There's a wire, and it's going to make a 3-step journey. Watch this. Watch this. Step 1. Step 2. Step 3. YOLO. YOLO. Alright, so now PP3B42 is going to that area where those two pads are messed up. No, Unikitakara, I don't want to go bankrupt. TVs cost $300. You think I'm going to do all of this for an item that costs $300 new? Hell no. Hell no. I need to actually pay my rent. Okay, 1, 2... Okay, that's my wire. That's insane. I actually lost count of the amount of jumpers that I have going here. Well, it's time to continue. Remember what I said in the beginning, this is going to be a shit board. Alright, now the PP3B42 area looks like it's seen better days. What country? Unitakara? Unikatora? After this has gone to the ultrasonic cleaner, any of the corrosion in that area will be gone. Everything has been nicely put back into place. And here is pretty much the same thing. You know, I don't even know if that's corrosion on an actual solder joint over there. Yeah, that's not even on a solder joint. That was just on the board itself. So usually I flux it so that the solder connections don't get screwed up before I clean. But here, the corrosion was actually on the board itself rather than on the solder joint. And just in case there's anything going on under that little BGA that I imagine is a speaker amp or something, we're just going to give it a minor reflow. Last up is addressing the stuff that you see by the LCD connector over here. That pin is probably still good. So the real question with this board is, even if it turns on, does it pass its sensor test? Which I'm probably not going to have the patience to do on camera because it requires reassembling everything, and I don't feel like doing that right now. Okay. Now again, there's probably smaller marks here that the ultrasonic cleaner will do well to get off of the board, but at this point I want to see where I'm at. You know, what have I accomplished, if anything? Because there's also always the opportunity, you know, there's always the chance that I haven't actually done anything, and let's see what we've accomplished here. Let's see if the last hour of my life has produced anything worthwhile, besides entertainment for people that want to see me fail. Okay, it looks like we got 81 milliamps, no fan spin. What do you think about MacBooks with ARM chips? Have you seen their boards? I haven't. I don't think about MacBooks with ARM chips because I don't have any parts for them, and I won't be able to get parts for them for probably a year or two. So I don't think about or care about new MacBooks when they come out. Like I genuinely don't give a shit about them for a year or two because there's nothing I can do with them when they first come out. Like I have no schematic, no parts, no nothing. It's just nope. I can't have a thought on it. No thoughts to be had. No parts available, no schematics available, no diagrams available. And above all, no customers, because nobody shows up with the machines when they're new. Okay. I forgot about this one cap over here. I'll start making measurements in a moment, because as you can see, we went from 66 milliamps to 80, which is barely even a change. That's not really even a change that is worth making note of. So when I plug it in, we're just going to check out a couple of things. For the Erica M1 Clio replacement fund, so you start caring. Yeah, about me buying Erica a MacBook. Yeah. You guys may have me pegged as a little bit more chivalrous than I actually am. I'm sorry to disappoint. Okay. So, basic stuff here. Now, PP3V42 obviously is going to be present because we got... That's a high voltage on PP3V42, which is really strange. I don't get that. Anyway. PP bus is 8.6. PP5V S5 is 5 volts. PP3V3... Erica's M1 Clio. She named her MacBook after a scam artist. That's the crazy thing. Clio is a psychic. Psychics are scam artists. Okay, PP3V3S5 is 3.3, and it's a steady 3.3. PP5ES4 is nothing. PM sleep is not there. Imagine that. Is anybody here surprised that PM sleep is missing? Clock signal. Wait a second. Clock signal. Oh no. Tell me the clock signal. Oh, tell me the clock voltage is shorted by the CPU. I'll scream. No. 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 No! Why didn't you check this? Oh my god. Oh man. Yo. Okay. we're going to remove the clock chip. We're going to remove the clock chip, and we're going to remove the cap. And if that still measures as short as a ground, that means either one of the power caps over here, which never shorts ever, shorted, but those never short ever, never ever, or B, the CPU is dead. Okay, I'm gonna need some copium. If that's actually a dead clock chip, then this is a dead CPU after all this work, I'm gonna need some copium. Like after the day I've had to this point, copium will be necessary. I'm gonna be huffing on that copium all night long. Like someone that should have sold their ICLN at 3350 but held it to 3050. Diamond hands to paper hands. Buy high, sell low, my friends. Buy high, sell low. I'm just going to put the cap on its side. I need that copium. Motherfucking piece of shit. The fucking CPU. It was the CPU was shorted. I'm gonna confirm it. Let's confirm. I want confirmation of this. I want to make sure that if I just wasted an hour and a half of my life, that on something that I could have easily told by just checking measurements before I started soldering, that's actually the case. All right, we're gonna see. Take the CPU heatsink off. We're going to get some enjoyment out of this. You know why? You know what I'm going to do for some fun? We're going to remove that short. That's right, my friends. That short is going to be gone. There's going to be no more short in this board in a short period of time. No pun intended. There's going to be no short on this board. You'll see. Wait a second. Oh, fuck me. Fuck me. Fuck me. I got fucking Paul Daniels. Son of a fucking whore. That's the fucking short in the CPU. It was covered by the heatsink. I didn't remove the goddamn heatsink. Oh, fuck you. Fuck you. Fuck you. I'm done. I'm out of here. This day needs to end. Fuck this day. I'm done. I give up. I'm going home. I was gonna run 18 volts through the short to blow up the CPU, and I don't even get the enjoyment of blowing up the CPU because it blew itself up. What the fuck?